For the kind introduction with some exaggeration. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Kwon with the School of Risk Management of St. John's University in New York. I'm very happy to be here and very happy to see many of my friends with whom I have maintained a good relationship in the past. Today what is this? Supposed to be secret, but revealing everything. Okay. I am practicing a few things, during my presentation. In fact, I had my own script I prepared before arriving here in Shanghai on Friday. I've been changing my scripts many times. In fact, I was changing my script even a minute ago. And I find myself standing between you and lunch break. So I like to concise my presentation as much as possible so that you can have really fruitful luncheon break as well. If you need the translation headset, please go ahead. I'm going to go very slow at the beginning. My presentation is about the practical areas of insurer efficiency involving InsurTech, something positive. Also, I'm going to talk somewhat about cybersecurity, cyber insurance, and cyber insurance policy and cyber insurance market developments. Say concisely again, that we are not sure yet, that we are not sure whether we are well prepared. First, about insurance operations that we have done in the past. In insurance, when it comes to the senior management level management, we've been emphasizing on solvency, capital, operational efficiency, risk portfolios, and territory-wise, combination of their products, people, and again, the relationship between risk and capital. Thus, when it comes to management, when it comes to regulation, pardon me, Mr. Liu, I'm a former regulator. We've been emphasizing on this side of it, the white side of it, companies with signs of trouble, companies experiencing trouble, companies at risk, at verge of being liquidated. We are having a bit of a trend in insurance regulation worldwide, including China, especially after the introduction of the CRAs, that we leave healthy insurance companies, financially and operation-wise, with minimum level of regulation. Give these companies freedom of, operations so that they can improve their service for their, policyholders as well as all other stakeholders. When it comes to InsurTech, or more broadly, FinTech, we are talking about possibly the engagement of healthy insurance companies, how to improve the operational efficiency, how to minimize unnecessary cost-causing operational functions, how to enhance firm value, how to win the market, how to use the currently developing or future developing technologies to improve again the efficiency. That's the area that we are looking at. When it comes to InsurTech, many of us are thus far focusing on, yes, there's technology. We need to find out how to use that technology to improve something, somewhat broadly, somewhat generally. Let's take a look at a little bit. Here on the left-hand side, I have product, pricing, design and pricing, and other key functional areas of insurance operations. By the way, I am trying something here. Fake Chinese. I call it. I am not Chinese. And I said, well, this is an InsurTech forum, so let me try something. Last year, when I was doing a presentation, again here in Shanghai, that was about mutual insurance regulation, I thought about it. I said no, because there were so many errors when it comes to, say, online translation. This time I'm trying. But with something else as well, I added my personal, so human intellectual knowledge about some key terms of say, insurance in Chinese and, pardon me, in Japanese as well. So the translation you see sporadically around my presentation is a mix of online, automatic translation, and my human knowledge embedded element. And you make judgment whether we are ready to translate something about insurance between English and Chinese. Back to here. Insurance companies, if they're thinking about use of technology, sure they're thinking about, they're planning. Dissect their business operations into the functional areas, find the areas that they are relevantly ready to adopt new technology. Let's go back to the late 1980s and early 1990s, when computer was becoming something new for technology. Did we adopt the computer system, for the entire operation simultaneously, or did we do one at a time, finding out the areas of adaptability? When we are coming with the online, the internet technology, did we say that, oh, we are going to do everything from pricing, product design, marketing, distribution, underwriting, claims, investment? We didn't. We need to find out the areas of a function that we are confident, for many reasons, including one. When it comes to regulation of insurance in today's jurisdictions, whether they are being China, Singapore, Taiwan, or the US, we are always talking about the minimum size of capital that an insurance company must maintain given a portfolio of risks: asset risk, pricing risk, interest rate risk, foreign exchange rate risk. It goes on. Now, technology risk. Risk volatility means additional capital. Do governments understand, say, InsurTech as much as we understand, or we try to understand? It depends. If there is discrepancy between the knowledge level, the understanding level of the government and that of the private sector, there's sort of capital pricing mismatch, and the insurance industry might be asked to set aside more capital than necessary, assuming that the government has the full information about technology risk. And the Chinese government is doing its best. I find that Chinese government is actually doing its best better than many other, say, government agencies. Something good I find. IoT partnership, InsurTech financing, corporate venture capital investments. I have found a few, say statistics. I deleted all of them, kept 3 of them, and I'm not going to discuss, because insurance operations have been with technology. Whenever there's technology available, we adopt it. It was early 1990s when the US non-life insurance industry developed the earthquake map. So along the side of one street, we could identify the likelihood earthquake of a house in one side, which might be different from the likelihood of another house on the other side of the street. That was almost 30 years ago. We did. In China, we have developed earthquake maps and say flood maps. 3 years ago, I was with a task force for US Federal Congress related to, say, flood risk management. Then, 3 years ago, we were talking about using satellite images to create high-resolution maps of the flood-affected areas and process claims spontaneously with some reliable accuracy. Now we're adding drones on top of a satellite system to come up with, say, the better claims, assessment. It does not take 2 months or 3 months for some easy to identify losses. That's the speed, that's the efficiency we are talking about, and we're talking about improvement of speed and the efficiency with additional level of layer of technology. This data shows that life insurance and non-life insurance are lagging behind many other industries when it's come to fintech. Not really true, because they are ignoring the fact that we've been developing technology within the sector. Here we're talking about collaboration between the insurance and other sectors. So let's stay positive. We've been talking about, I heard quite a few times yesterday and today, about the efficiency, the effectiveness of technology. Before moving, towards, another area, let me give you an idea. Here's a sort of story. 2 questions may I ask you. You go to a traditional market. You want to buy apples. And you ask, the lady, in the fruit store, that, how much are the apples? Yeah, it is 10 renminbi per apple. I'm not sure it is 10 renminbi, but let's say 10 renminbi. Or I have 100 renminbi. How many apples can you buy? 10? Not really. It depends what she wants to sell. It can be 11, it can be 12. Computer says 10. We say 11. Similarly, you go to a fruit stall and there's a basket full of 10 apples. Oh, how much is it? Oh, it is 100 RMB. Oh, here's 100 RMB. Are you getting one basket only? The store may add a few more. There's art, the beautiful mind of a human being that we play. And that is giving the beauty of, business operations sometimes. We cannot have the insurance business purely machine run. Something very routine, something very repetitive, we do. Something sophisticated, something creative, human being. So we still have a positive future. Now, also, we need to change our mindset. Here's one example. I have some ratios we use very frequently to compare the performance level between companies, between markets, etc. And then when it comes to, for example, operating expenses, we have 2 types of expenses, among others. One is acquisition, so-called underwriting expense. The other one is loss adjustment expenses or claims handling expenses. It is a general understanding in the US that if a non-life insurance company maintains about 28-27% of the expense ratio, the company is around the average. Yeah, it is the industry average, but are you really efficient? What if you dissect your products by line and find that, 28% of the operating ratio is, too excessive, you got to adjust. For example, if we are talking about automation of, automobile insurance, If we can underwrite it in a matter of, say, 5 seconds, are we talking about 28% of the premium going to cover the expenses? Not making much sense. But however, you're talking about complex risks, then 28% might be reasonable, maybe more. When it comes to claims handling, let's use lemonade as an example. When a buyer has a claim, it's the person is, say, taking a photo shot and uploads it using the smartphone, and then in a matter of 5 seconds, there's a claim, there's a check. 11%? No, not making sense. So find the line that you think you are say, confident when it comes to, say, generating additional cost efficiency. Same with the case of, say, the non-life insurance in, say, Japan as well. So, a very simple, say, suggestion given the, say, time constraint is twofold. Number one, repackage your cost elements and find out where you can further generate cost efficiency. Know your products, know your lines of business, know your markets, know your territories, and find the areas. Simple repackaging is going to give you, number one, say, better cost efficiency. Number two, better understanding about, say, your products by your clients. And then number two, find new consumer-oriented business paradigms to deliver products, services more efficiently. One example is the case of a microinsurance in India. Say about 10 years ago, they were using, say, microinsurance. They are providing microinsurance with a very low distribution cost, 25 cents. Commercial, traditional companies could not provide, but they were providing microinsurance with extremely low distribution cost using smartphones. They didn't use people. Let's talk about cyber risk. There was a signal that I have 5 minutes, so allow me to cover this one in 5 minutes or so. Cyber risk usually affects an individual unit in society, usually not anymore, not necessarily. Yahoo was attacked twice, and we're talking about WannaCry, say mass attack, say probably coming, say, to attack Windows 10-based computer systems. So it is more or less about the threats caused by third parties and sometimes internal persons like employees. And there is possible, say, chain potential of the catastrophic losses. And we begin to talk about cyber attacks, cyber terrorism. Terrorism, something, say, to be developed. World Risk Forum said cyber attack, terrorism attacks are, say, on top of natural risks and man-made catastrophes. When it comes to, say, the severity, frequency-wise, not much difference, severity-wise, much difference. Cyber security, cyber attacks, the number one risk in North America, not necessarily in other regions of the world. In many other regions, they are focusing on man-made and natural catastrophes. Nonetheless, it is still something important when it comes to when it comes to cybersecurity. We are always talking about consumer protection. However, not all the countries around the world are ready to give some guarantee about the privacy issues and other consumers' information protection issues. Two key developments in case you are dealing with the companies doing business in the US and Europe. In Europe, there's so-called GDPR to be effective in May 2018, next year, about 1 year from today. Basically saying that the company which is operating within the EU must comply with this GDPR, say, regulation. A failure means up to 4% of the revenue globally. So many companies are prepared to comply with this regulation. If there is another one, you are dealing with companies doing business in the US, probably this New York introduced one back in February 2017 is going to give you a clear idea. Basically, the US is asking companies to come up with cyber security risk management plans, and risk-based, say, minimum standards for technology protection and consumer, say, protection as well. Who gets most attacked, believe it or not? Banks, credits, and financial institutions are more, say, very much, say, attacked according to, say, one study result. Universities and colleges are also affected, say, very frequently, and medical and healthcare, again, targets. When it comes to, again, say, number one, record-wise, we are seeing banks and medical, healthcare, hospitals being the targets most frequently. Allow me to skip this one. And this is, say, something you might find interesting. There's a study by, say, Ramansky using, say, advice data is sort of claims-related, say, data management company, and it is coming out with something between, say, a median cost of $0.25 million up to the $750 million of cyber security-related losses. Currently, it means that in select countries, cyber insurance coverage is available up to $500 million. Some are offering $250 million as well. However, the norm is somewhere around $25,000 or say $250,000. Cybersecurity insurance, allow me to skip that one. When it comes to the development of a cyber insurance market, this is not security, this is insurance market. Some are estimating it to be over, somewhere around, $20 billion in the future, but it is certainly exceeding $3 billion. However, it is still, very much, less than 1% of a non-life insurance market, so there's a very strong growth potential. What insurance companies should be prepared? This slide is giving you a very clear idea. Okay, very clear idea. On top of it, it shows the risks that we have relatively clearly identified. At the bottom, the risks that we are not really sure. If you, the insurance company, is thinking about offering cyber insurance coverage, check whether you are ready to deal with the issues on the top, and then find out your solutions for the issues, 7 issues at the bottom. And then, one last item, I like to mention is this. When the InsurTech matters are correlated with insurance coverage, especially with the cyber attacks, we are seeing, we've been talking about, property damages thus far, machine damages, computer data damages thus far. However, there's a risk of, for example, bodily injury, human injury as well. For instance, automobile insurance is currently, automobile-related accidents are matters of automobile insurance for sure. But when we're talking about driverless vehicles, are we talking about automobile insurance, or are we talking about products liability insurance? Let alone that there's possibility of bodily injury. Wearable devices, bodily injury as well. Thus, we need to understand how the, technology development will affect us, and try to understand it and think about something positive, think about generating additional value, think about, additional efficiency in operations as well. If you are interested in, cyber insurance, market and policy matters, please contact me. I am in the process of completing an analysis of existing insurance policies from about 20 companies, and I'm happy to share the findings with you as well. Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation, and with this, I'd like to conclude my presentation. Thank you.